Hello everyone, and we're back again for another hotel room review. We're here at the Rock Hotel in New York City. And I didn't think I was going to have to do this, but it's time for another story time. So, of course, we will do a room tour and we'll have a little look at the hotel as well. But again, unfortunately, I do have to give a little bit of a story time. So, my experience isn't necessarily going to be the normal, at least I hope not. And so, I want to kind of give this context for my review and why I feel the way I do. So, a little bit of story time. This is the last day of the trip. We are checking out probably in about 20 minutes' time. But when we checked in, we arrived quite early. We got here at like 11 a.m. So I knew our room wasn't going to be ready. Checked in, perfectly smooth, perfectly nice. The gentleman that checked us in was lovely. No problems there at all. Left our bags with the bag check and went out and explored New York for a couple of hours. We came back, we collected our keys, we came up to our room. We did get a bit of a room upgrade, so we bought the base level room and they gave us the next one up, which basically meant a slightly better view and a higher floor. So that was nice of them, and we kind of got settled down into our room. I would say we kind of just relaxed for a little while. It was mid-afternoon, it was quite warm still, and we were tired, so we lay down watching TV. And then maybe about an hour later, a couple of people came to our door and let themselves in and were coming into the room. Other guests who had also been allocated this room, which was very strange. They apologised and left, and we kind of thought nothing of it. Then my wife and I went back out to explore in the late afternoon, get a few bits, and see what New York has to offer. And we came back, and the room key wouldn't work, which is very odd. But it does happen from time to time. They're standard keys. They can lose their kind of encryption or whatever it is, the signal. So I thought nothing of it, and I just went down to guest services to get a new key. And then that's where the issues started, because apparently we actually hadn't been booked in, and we didn't have a room assigned to us. The room that our stuff was in, and we'd been in for hours, had been marked as dirty by cleaners, and it was generally just very confusing. Unfortunately, the lady that I spoke to didn't seem to quite understand the situation at all. I tried to explain that I'd only come down because my room key isn't working. We've already checked in, we already have a room, our stuff is all in the room. She didn't seem to understand that and tried to check me into, I guess, what was probably my original room. And I kind of had to then explain that no, I don't want to be changed rooms. I don't want to be checked into another room. Our stuff is in a room, and I want the key for that room. It took probably 15 minutes before she finally then got the manager, and the manager marched us up to the room, which was kind of embarrassing in itself. Wasn't really the best way to handle that, if you ask me. To check if our stuff was in the room, because they obviously didn't believe me. And lo and behold, all our stuff was in there. So she did apologise, but that was it. She just kind of said sorry and off she went. She went and officially checked us into this room and got us keys. And that was kind of it. No real proper apology or anything else. It wasn't the best experience at all. So there was obviously a massive mess up somewhere around the check-in process. And there wasn't really a huge acknowledgement that it was their fault. It was just kind of like, oh yeah, this has happened, sorry for the inconvenience. And it was a massive inconvenience. It was a big problem. I had to stand at the reception for 20 plus minutes to get this sorted. B, I was getting increasingly annoyed because no one seemed to understand the situation. And then C, we get marched up to the room by the manager. So not a great experience. So that's kind of where I'm coming from with this review, just so you know. Having said that, let's rewind time and let's go back before this all happened and do a bit of a room tour. All right, let's have a look at the room. And we have my darling wife sitting by the window. But we come straight in to kind of
the part of the bathroom, this is exactly the same as at the Virgin Hotel, if you saw that video. Hello. But yeah, you kind of just walk into part of the bathroom. I guess it really is a space-saving thing. We are right off Times Square after all. But next to a very nice sink here, very clean, looks very good. A couple of hand towels, some bottles of water and some glasses, which is very nice, and then mirrored back. Coffee machine with a couple of coffees as well. And I believe, yep, in here is a sort of, I mean, it's a drinks fridge really, isn't it? It's not really even a mini fridge, but it's perfect for a couple of drinks, which in the hot weather is going to be lovely. Did miss over here, we have cabinet. I think we've got a couple of extra pillows up there. We've got some quite scratchy, but I guess better than nothing, bathrobes, if that's your sort of thing. Couple of, I think that's a steamer. A couple of drawers. That one's got a safe in it. Bag, stand, if you need it. Some hangers. And then back around the other side, we have this big sliding door. So this does slide closed, but is the actual kind of bathroom, if you like. We have the toilet, and then we have the bathroom, the shower itself, which is nice and large. I really like this. I like this gold. It's nice. Got Lockwood amenities, if that means anything. Doesn't to me, but nonetheless. Oh, and we do actually have a rainfall shower. I didn't even notice that, but a waterfall shower, waterfall shower. So that's kind of cool. I'll have to check that out later. But yeah, it's not massive, but the shower is a very good size. And like I said, you kind of save some room by having the sink out here. And then into the actual, I guess, bedroom area, if you like, we have this lovely big bed. I really like the artwork above the bed as well. The lighting is really nice. We have this kind of control panel down here to control the lighting. We also have an Alexa, so that's a thing. I think it doesn't understand British, so that's fine. And then we have some sockets built into the cabinet there. We have this big sliding door. I do feel like I should know who this is, so comment down below if you do know who this is. A little bit weird, kind of having him looming over your bed, but such is life. Then continuing around, we have a lovely big TV. I'm definitely going to be checking that out. And that was actually playing music when we came in. I've just put it on mute because, well, copyright strikes. Want to make sure that that doesn't happen. And then this side of the bed, we do have a little kind of seating area. You've got a bit of a bench seat and a single seat. So it's good that there's actually two seats. I hate it when hotels are obviously designed for two people and then there's only one seat. So this is nice, very nice. Again, around here, some more plugs. The phone, and then our view. It is a street view. We are on the, is it 28th floor? And we do kind of have a bit of a view of Times Square. You can kind of see some of the billboards, the edges of them just there. So we are literally at Times Square. And we are so high up, I can't actually see the street, which is kind of terrifying. But there you go. Some pretty cool views all the way out across that way. So back to the current time, which when you're watching this is actually in the past as well, of course. But anyway, back to the actual review after everything's happened. So obviously the issues with check-in and people coming in our room and everything else, that was a big issue. But if I can set that aside for a second, I do have other problems with this hotel. They're not massive problems. I think, it is a nice hotel, and if you compare it to our last review, you're obviously going to realize that, yeah, it is a nice, much higher quality hotel, but it is also more expensive. But things like, the bedding is very nice, it's clean, which is more than can be said about the last hotel we stayed in. And, that's fine. But then there are just lots of little things that are showing that even though this hotel is actually quite new, it's already getting worn down and maybe maintenance isn't being kept up to the high standard that it should be. For example, the bottom of the TV is kind of broken. There are lines that are going across the bottom of the screen the whole time. I feel like that should have been picked up.
The light switch in the bathroom is kind of a little bit loose and like embedded into the wall wrong. The AC doesn't seem to work properly. At least it doesn't ever go down to the temperature that you set it. It just kind of hovers at around 21, 20 degrees. We set it to 19. It never got there. And yeah, you know, the amenities given in the room, I wouldn't say are necessarily the best quality around. They're just, it's the little things. And again, I think this is something that maybe we're just entering an era where hotels, unless you pay an absolute ridiculous fortune, hotels just aren't offering those little touches that make a big difference. And yeah, you know, I like some of the musical touches that there are. There's the kind of waveform artwork over the bed. There's the big Bruce Springsteen on the wall, so don't at me. But there's that. You know, there's little touches, but I would have expected it to be much more musical and much more kind of in your face in that regard. I'm not sure. So it's tough to give it a good review. It's not a bad hotel, but for me personally, with obviously all the things that did happen with reception and people coming into our room, I have to give it a bad review. I have to say that that's a serious issue that shouldn't have been able to happen at all, and not enough was done to kind of rectify that. So for me, I definitely won't be staying at this hotel again. For you, obviously your experience will differ. The location is of course very, very good. We're just off Times Square, and the hotel rooms are good. I wouldn't ever pay full price for this hotel room. I would definitely say you want to get yourself some sort of deal. I managed to spend some Virgin points, for example, and we got it down to about £200 per night, compared to, I think it was about £350 per night if we were booking direct. So for £200 a night, yeah, it's nice. I've definitely stayed in far worse hotels for that money. But for £350 a night, I'm not sure it's really, it's just the little touches that are disappointing again. So yeah, I'm gonna have to leave this one down to all of you to decide. And maybe you have stayed at this hotel and you want to write your experiences down below. But thank you very much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed this video, and I'll see you again very, very soon. Bye for now.